under RERA, they are required to get this certificate. So the moment your completion is done and you're out of the ambit of RERA, you can stop doing this audit. But till the time that your project is registered and is live, you are required to maintain the accounts in the right manner and get Form 5 report from the auditors during the stipulated time. Now the question which I have posed here is no money is collected from the intending buyers, which means that if a project is registered, but there is not a single rupee collection done by the promoter from the intending buyers, he has used only his own funds. Whether the audit is required to be done, in my opinion, yes, because there is no exemption granted in the law for the RERA audit. Form 5 is compulsory to all the promoters. So whether you have collected money or not, it is not relevant here. You may say in the report, collection 0, expenditure so and so rupees. So which means that you are within the framework of RERA because you have not siphoned out the money, you have used the money from your own resources. Then second, in case the project has not taken shape, for some reasons, the development work has not been started. Still, because you are a registered project, you have to make sure that you give the information in a required format, get the audit done, and get a report on record. Because RERA wants to take a wholesome, holistic view of the way the project is being managed by you, which means that as a promoter, you are required to comply with all the provisions of RERA, and you cannot exclude the provision of audit to be conducted by you. Then any threshold limit like turnover criteria or size of the project. No, there is no distinguishing factor in RERA of a small project or a large project or a turnover criteria, which means all the projects registered under RERA, you have to go in for the report of Form 5. Project is stalled or discontinued, what happens in that case? Still, in my opinion, it being a registered project, the law will come into play and you will have to get the audit done. Exclusions, yes, the projects not coming under the ambit of RERA, which means that the projects having a size of less than 500 square meters or having less than 8 units, they will not be covered under RERA. Projects wherein you have not opted for registration because you are into leasing of the property or you don't want to sell any property, those exemption cases, yes, because there is no registration required, so naturally no requirement of getting form number 5. So exactly the same thing, all the projects which are registered before 1st April 2022 on or before 31st March 2022, all those projects Form 5 will be required to be given and not reported completion till 31st March 2022. As I said earlier, if the completion is taken up before March 2022, then this Form 5 will not be required because now you are out of the ambit of RERA. What is the due date? It says within 6 months after the end of the financial year. So the question here is, can RERA authority extend the due date for audit of the account under RERA? To my knowledge, authority has got every right to do it, but so far they have never done it. So let us not presume that they will extend it. You have to go as per the law as it stands today. So which means that for the accounts of March 22, the due date for all of us is 30th September 2022. Who should do the RERA audit? A chartered accountant in practice shall audit the accounts and report on verification during the audit. The same thing, amounts collected, amounts spent. The questions which I have posed to you are, who is a CA? Yes, it is defined in the Act. Can CA in employment audit certify? No, because he is required to be a CA in practice. Can internal auditor audit or certify? No, because the guidelines say that you are not supposed to do it. Then, can the tax auditor do it? Yes, because he is a statutory auditor appointed under the Income Tax Act. He got every right to conduct the audit. Then, can the statutory auditor do it? Yes, a statutory auditor appointed under Companies Act can also do it. also do it. Then, can the same CA who issued periodical certificates, can he do it? The answer is no, because the law specifically excludes such chartered accountant from conducting form number 5 of the year. So, issued form 3 cannot do it. It has to be the statutory audit to your audit under Companies Act. If he says, I can't
Excuse
do
me.
it,
Sorry,
yeah.
sir. I think some voice is breaking. I don't know whether my net is weak or your net is weak. Whether other members are listening properly, Aditya and Sumit.
I don't see any disturbance in his voice.
Okay, then perfectly fine, sir. Please carry on.
Yeah. So, which means that in case suppose the tax auditor says that I do not understand RERA, I will not do it. The Companies Act auditor says I cannot do it. Then the RERA is an independent act by itself. So the promoter can appoint an auditor of his choice to conduct the audit under RERA, and that person can become a statutory auditor under RERA and conduct the audit for the client. Now, the question is where to submit the accounts. Because under tax audit, we are required to submit the accounts to the income tax department, under GST to the GST department, under Companies Act to the MCA. Now, under RERA, what do we do? So, there is no clear mention about the submission of the audit report under certificates. Powers are vested with the authorities to issue directions in accordance with the Act, rules and regulations. So accordingly, the authorities have made a provision to upload these reports online or by manual submissions, for which you have to refer to the regulations of your particular state. So in our case, Maharashtra, you are supposed to upload the report before the due date on the RERA website of the promoter. Okay, Sumit, is the screen visible?
Sir, no.
Wait a minute.
The voice is breaking and even sharing screen share as well.
1 minute. So just give me a minute, okay? There's some technical glitch. I'll just solve it. 1 minute. Is it visible now?
No, sir.
No, sir. No, 1 minute.
Yes, now.
Now, yes?
Yes, sir. Perfectly fine.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, the glitch. Okay. Now, what does 42 LD say? Now, does it define the statement of accounts to be defined? The statement of accounts in this case are the normal accounts as we maintain under any other law. So, in my opinion, the balance sheet, the profit and loss account, the cash flow statement are the statements of account. Will we complete the presentation and we'll go back to Vinay because Vinay has got some inputs to give to all of us and discuss the subject at length along with Vinay and Aditya. So we'll take it further during the course of the presentation. Now here, is there any guidance from the authorities? To my knowledge, no. What is the format? The format, in my opinion, is the format that we have for income tax or for the Companies Act. Now, is it mandatory to submit the SOA to RERA authorities? In my opinion, yes, because that the statement of accounts is a part of the audit report. The audit is conducted on the statement of accounts, which means that the account statement along with the audit is the proper compliance as expected under law. And next, if any observations, what do you do? In my opinion, you are supposed to give a report the way you give a tax audit report or a GST report or a company act report. The format has not been given by the RERA authority to us, but whatever observation that we have, any audit objections that we are supposed to give it along with the account statements, which means that we have got the liberty under RERA to give our comments as well as observations for the benefit of the RERA authority. Friends, you have to understand one more important thing here is that the RERA authority expects you to be the custodian of the allottees, which means the RERA expects you to make sure that your submissions give the required information and ensure the necessary compliance as expected under the law. Okay, now what is the statement of accounts? The SOA, as expected, is supposed to include the project cash flow statements, inflow and outflow statements, then the balance sheet, as we understand in the normal parlance of accounts, then the profit and loss account, which is the account as expected of us during the course of tax audit or GST audit or company act audit. Now, the next question, which is important, red highlighted, include the expenses towards delay compensation in case of delay in delivery of units, which means that here you should specify very clearly what is the delay compensation that the promoter has paid, because the RERA expects you to ensure the compliances in such a fashion that the compliances are revealed for the benefit of the allottees. Again, include the penalty or other levies by authorities. Here again, the issue is to highlight for the benefit of the allottees what wrong the promoter has done. Notes to SOA is for the better understanding to the readers of the SOA, which means that this audit is an exercise all inclusive in nature, wherein you look into the accounts, make sure that the compliance is done properly. Any observations, the way we report under other acts, we are here again to repeat for the benefit of the RERA authority as well as the allottees. Going further, how to start the RERA audit. Now, people who have been practicing RERA will be in a better position to understand this because they have gone through the entire process. But friends who are not practicing RERA, you have to make an effort to understand this, because the audit basically comprises of all the information right from registration till the date of audit, because you are required to certify the information from the inception till this date on a cumulative basis also, which means that you have to look into all the aspects which are specified in various certificates issued for registration at the time of registration or in as a matter of compliance in subsequent time. So all the information about the accounts, the estimated cost, the cost of land, cost of development, amounts collected, amounts spent, all these issues are a part of the audit. So you have to make sure that you understand the whole process, the way the RERA functions and the way the RERA audit should be conducted. Going further, collect the details of the project bank account, collect the list of bank account maintained by the promoter, the policy of the promoter in managing the finance. This is very critical because to understand the methodology by which the promoter is collecting the money and utilizing the money. So there can be a master account when the entire collection from the project is deposited. You can have a RERA dedicated account wherein 70% amount is transferred. In case there is a lender or there is a joint venture partner, in that case, there can be a private arrangement made by the promoter of an escrow operation. You have to go through that. Then the pass-through charges, for example, GST being collected by the promoter or stamp duty being collected by the promoter, that has to be seen. So this is an all-inclusive exercise to understand the mechanism of the promoter managing the finance. So friends, to understand the law very meticulously, read the circulars, and then and only then come to this conclusion, because you are now the custodian for the promoter, for the RERA authority as well as for the allottees. Then how to start the audit? So first, collect the certificates till 31st March 2022 obtained by the promoter for every withdrawal. So your exercise starts on the basis of the certificates in Form 1, 2 and 3 issued by the architect, engineer and the chartered accountant. This is a starting step for you because they have done the work for every quarter in the past. So their certificates will contain all the information as collected by them from time to time. So they form the basis of your certificates for issuing the form number 5. So before starting the audit, make sure that this data is given to you by the promoter. Then this 70% mechanism, you have to ensure that it is followed in a disciplined manner by the promoter. Then you check whether the withdrawals are in accordance with the certificates issued by the three professionals who are supposed to monitor the financial discipline expected of the client. Then after that, tabulate the whole information in the Excel sheet the way I have given it here, and then we'll be in a position to understand how the client or the promoter has behaved during the course of each and every quarter. So your job is to understand the quarterly behavior and then match it with the books of account, the statement of accounts, so that the conclusion is rightly drawn by you. Here again is a question because people have a feeling that 70/30 is applicable to all the projects, which is not the case. In case of an ongoing project, in case the receivables and unsold stock is less than the balance expenditure, in that case, the criteria is not 70% but 100%, which means in such a cases, you have to make sure that 100% of the collection is put into the RERA account to be utilized for the development cost and cost of land. So to understand the situation, what to do is that check and ensure whether this information of 70% or 100% is given at the time of registration. Then, if yes, you come to know that this client is supposed to put 100% into their account, then check if the 100% collection is deposited or not. So here, the liberty of the promoter to withdraw 30% is not there, which means that the promoter should utilize 100% for the project out of the collections. So here I've given example, receivables are 80 crores and expenditure is 100 crores, which means that the entire amount of collection is required to be utilized by the promoter for the purpose of the project under RERA. So his liberty of 30% is gone. Correct? Okay. Then after doing the exercise of getting the quarterly certificates, consolidate all the information for the period from 1st April 2021 to 31st March 2022 in Excel to arrive at the conclusion which is expected of you. Conclusion is whether the amounts collected for a particular project have been utilized for the same projects, and second, whether withdrawals have been in proportion to the percentage of completion of the project. There are two certificates or two topics to be clearly mentioned by you while giving the report. So your expectation is to give these two numbers, but for that purpose, in my opinion, you are required to look into the entire accounts and make sure that whatever you are certifying is the right information and is matching with the books of accounts. Now here the criteria is amounts collected for a particular project. It is only from the allottees. Any other source, if the promoter has, that is not to be considered for the purpose of issuing this form number 5. So if there are project loans, borrowings, they need not be deposited into the RERA account. For that purpose, you have to make sure that you do the segregation properly. Reconcile the receipts from various sources so that you only look at the collection from the allottees. So books of accounts, the agreements, the 26As, in case the deduction of tax at source, make sure that those cases wherein TDS is deducted, that collection is reflected as booking money by the promoter or not. So your job is to reconcile the collection as per 26A with the collection as per the books of accounts. Now, in case your client is recovering GST at 12% or 5%, whatever the case may be, then you have to make sure that the GST collection also, as per the GST returns, is matching with the booking money as shown by the client. So all this information is available in the public domain or in the private domain. It is your job to collate the information and make sure that you have reconciled the information with the books of accounts and then only issue the certificate. So here at the end of it, I say amount collected during the year for this project is be so and so, and amount collected till date is be so and so. You are required to give both the numbers, the collection for the year and collection up to date. So which means that you are not only required to give the information in the current financial year, but also look at the balance sheet and make sure that figure also is given by you in the correct manner. Now we go to the expenditure side. You have seen the collection first. The second issue is whether the collection made by you has been utilized for the same project. So here the basic intent of the law is to prevent any diversion of funds or misuse of funds other than the project. So the law wants you as the custodian of RERA to certify that the amount collected for the project utilized for the same project. So here the certification part is this: amount withdrawn during the year for the project is rupees so and so. Amount withdrawn till date is rupees so and so. So in the earlier slide we saw the amount collected during the year, and here in this slide we are seeing the amount spent during the year, which means that you have to do the matching exercise to make sure that there is no diversion or siphoning of funds or misuse of funds by the promoter. So the duty cast upon you is to maintain financial discipline and make sure that the information given by the other professionals in form 1, 2, and 3 are matching with the information what you are giving right now. So now here the collected till date and withdrawn till date means to review the details since inception of the project, which means that you have to look into the balance sheet and the profit loss account of the project right from day one. And then you have to make your own assessment to rely on the information given to you. Make sure that all the accounts and all the relevant information is made available to you so that you can come to the right conclusion. So the questions here is funds utilization. Repayment of loans permitted if the loan obtained is for this project and utilized for the project. So in this case, if the loan initially taken utilized for the project, then yes, the amount can be repaid out of the RERA account. Payment of penalty or fines is no restriction on such. Advance to suppliers, yes, you may be paying advances to suppliers for the material which you are going to get in the future. But make sure while putting this number that such material is actually supplied to the promoter in the future. Should not be a hidden advance, just parking of money for some other reason. So make sure that the amount is paid for the project and for nothing else. GST, indirect tax payments, yes, which is collected and deposited into 70% account. Income tax payments, no, because tax payment is a direct tax, not applicable or not eligible under the RERA account. Refund to clients, yes, because when you collected the money, you have put 70% into the RERA account, so you are entitled to withdraw to the extent of 70% from the account. Then payments to associate parties, related parties, or sister concerns. Answer is no, because that will be not for the purpose of construction or development. But the utilization has to be only for the purpose of construction, development, and the purpose of spending for land. So any advance to a sister concern will not be counted as utilization for construction. Next issue is that you as a custodian, as the auditor of the accounts, you are supposed to verify whether the three professionals have done their job properly or not. So you have to see whether the withdrawals have been in compliance with the proportion to the percentage of completion of the project, which means that you are required to get all the three certificates in Form 1, 2, and 3 from the other three professionals and make sure that the information that they have given is ultimately properly disclosed in the accounts or not. Okay. Now, the qualification or non-compliance. So, in case the promoter has not followed a discipline by not putting the money in the proper way in their account, in that case, your job to put qualifications about the non-compliance. You have got every right to give the information for the benefit of the authority and the authority. All the non-compliances on qualifications have to be reported to the RERA authority by you. The audit is to be conducted to give a reporting of the exact situation of the project for the benefit of the authorities as well as for the benefit of the MARRE authority. Your report is going to enable the authority to take a review of the project and ensure that the discipline as expected is being put forth by the promoter or not. Now, what are the challenges that we are going to face while doing this? Friends, for this purpose, knowledge of the act and rules is a basic thing. You have to go into the act and rules, understand the mechanism, the purpose of RERA, so that you can give the information correctly for the benefit of the authority and the promoter. If the information is given is erroneous, then you have to make sure that it is corrected by the promoters and that errors should not benefit the promoter in a wrong way. So your exercise should be to make sure that the compliance is in spirit as well as compliance is in law, so that nobody should take advantage or undue advantage of the errors committed by somebody else. Your job is to see the entire accounts in totality and make sure that the compliance as expected under the law is taken care of or not. Then the records to be verified. This is the normal procedure of law, wherein normally you conduct the audit. Same way, you're required to get all the information about the project. So all these requirements, you have to make sure that the promoter gives you the information in the right manner so that your compliance is done properly. And conduct the audit in the right manner, provided there is proper submission of data. Do not get afraid to make your qualifications because that is what is expected of you. You are not supposed to give a clean report in case the discipline expected under RERA is not followed by the client. My friends, I will advise you not to get an audit done in case you are not comfortable with the way the discipline has been maintained by the promoter. If you feel that a discipline expected is not being followed by the promoter, do not hesitate to give a qualification because in case the qualification is not given by you, it may backfire on you tomorrow, wherein you will be penalized by the institute for not doing your job properly. 1 minute, I just come in a minute. Okay, sorry. Yeah, now what is the advice? Certificate shall be submitted to the authorities. It is a public document. It could be made available for viewing on the portal of the regulators in the respective states, which means that your opinion, your report is becoming a public document. An authority can take you to task in case you have not performed your duties properly and he is cheated or he is being put to a loss by the misconduct of the promoter. The misconduct of the promoter is supposed to be reported by you to the authorities by virtue of the audit report, which means that in case you do not report it properly and in case there is diversion of funds tomorrow and you have given a clean report, then the authority and the authority can take you to task for giving a wrong certification, which can be very dangerous to you in time to come. Okay. Now, this situation wherein you are relying on the work done by somebody else. So, in case you are working out the percentage of completion during the course of the audit, and you are basing your calculation on the basis of the total estimated project cost, which is not estimated by you, but by another professional, an architect or an engineer, and your calculations are based on his estimation. And in case his estimation is wrong, then you are not penalized for that. So the law allows you that benefit of doubt if you have taken the basis of another professional information or a certification for the purpose of preparation of your certificate. In that case, you got every right to defend yourself by stating that the certificate given by another professional was incorrect and my numbers have gone wrong because of the wrong certificate given by that professional. So you will not be penalized for the mistake of somebody else. So here the $1,000,000 question which comes up always while doing audit is the percentage completion. Because as far as the revenue recognition is concerned, the client may insist on a less percentage of completion because it doesn't want to recognize the full revenue of the project up to a certain stage. But the RERA certificate may state a different percentage. Friends, do not compromise on this. You have to certify the information as evident from the books of accounts. So in case you feel that the percentage is being tampered with by the promoter, it is your job to highlight that issue for the benefit of the authority. Leave it to the authority to decide about the penalty or the whatever action they want to take. But safeguard yourself by giving the right percentage in the right manner. Make sure the other information is available to you, like getting a survey of work performed, getting the other certificates, all that exercise you have to do so that your conclusion is properly taken up for the benefit of the authority as well as for the benefit of the allottee. So what you are supposed to keep with you as working paper. This is a good practice in case you can follow it. That will help you out for the rest of your life because the certificate issued once is going to remain on the record of the Maharera till the project is completed. So anytime during the next 2, 3, 5 years, you may be called upon to substantiate the report which you have given. So here, my suggestion to you is to maintain all these working papers in the right fashion, get them on your records so that in case you have to go back, in case of any complaint or in case of any reference by the authority, you got your data clear and you don't have to depend on somebody else at that point in time to give a substantive proof. So friends, these working papers is a matter of record which you should follow as a good professional practice so that any problems in the future can be taken care of by producing the data which is available with you. You don't have to depend on the client at that point in time because there can be differences between you and the client in case of an adverse action being taken by the authority or by our institute. At that point of time, what is going to save you is the working paper which are with you. So friends, this working paper slide is most important. You have to make sure that all the information is available with you on your records at the exclusion of the client. So make sure that your client gives you all the information which is expected to be in support of the audit you're conducting so that your conclusions are rightly drawn and you don't end up on the wrong side of the law. This is a matter of debate for which I will request Vinay to come forward once I'm done with this presentation so that he can give us more insight into what is understood as statement of accounts under RERA. To my knowledge, the three statements which you normally make for other laws, the cash flow statement, the amount balance sheet, and the profit loss account is supposed to be the basis as a statement of accounts. But still, we'll try to get more information on this subject from Vinay when I'm done with the presentation. So, checklist is to certify the statement of account, 4 to LD of the RERA and the provision of the Act. So, friends, the audit to be conducted after understanding the RERA Act, the rules, circulars, and the notifications. So, your job is to conduct the audit, give the report, but not only give Form 5, but conduct the audit also the way we conduct under other laws. I think I am done with my presentation. Thank you for the patient hearing. Vinay, I request you to take up those 3 slides which I have deleted from here of the statement of accounts, so that will give the listeners, the attendees, better insight into the audit portion of the statement of accounts. Thank you. Over to Vinay. Vinay, you can take over now.
Sunil sir, thank you so much for giving the detailed presentation on the RERA Audit 2022. I know that where you are coming from. In spite of 5 years of implementation of RERA, still we are figuring out what do you mean by statement of account, or there is no directions to the professionals in terms of what to issue in terms of the audit report under RERA. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Certainly I will try to give my insights. Please note that this is based on my experience and over last 5 years of practice in terms of how to do the audit under RERA. Because as rightly Sunil sir mentioned, it is not only to give or quantify those 4 numbers in terms of what is collected this year, what is collected till the inception of the project, and whether withdrawal is in proportionate to percentage of completion of the project. Is that only a scope under the audit under RERA, or do I have a larger scope under RERA? This is a format which is notified by most of the RERA authorities. Honestly, in the year 2017, when RERA has implemented and Maharashtra RERA had come out with a regulation along with notification of these forms, straight away all other states followed it, thinking that okay, Maharashtra has done the best job. Okay, and subsequent to that, everybody is following the same without going back and checking what actually be the audit under RERA, what needs to be certified and what need to be reported. If you strictly read the section which says that proviso 3 to the RERA section 4 to LD, it says audit the accounts. So what do you mean by accounts is very important. Statement of accounts. Hope you all have heard the detailed presentation of the Sunil sir. I'll just pull out the act and I'll read again for the sake of the participants.
Sumit, please make Vinay as a co-host if possible. Otherwise, WRC person, please make Vinay sir as a co-host. Because right now I'm not a host.
Proviso 3 to section 4 to LD says, provided also that promoter get his accounts audited within 6 months after the end of every financial year by a chartered accountant in practice. So what it says is, promoter shall get his accounts audited within 6 months after end of financial year by a chartered accountant in practice and shall produce a statement of accounts. That means to say that there should be a statement of accounts to produce, which is duly certified and signed by such chartered accountant. And it says, and it shall be verified during the audit that the amounts collected for a particular period have been utilized for the project and the withdrawal has been in compliance with the proportionate to the percentage of the completion of the project. So this proviso 3 has 3 limbs to it. One is there is a accounts to be audited. Second is shall produce a statement of account, and last limb is during the audit the chartered accountant shall verify the amount collected and also amount withdrawn in proportion to percentage. If you see this format of which is notified by RERA Form 5 or Form 7 in other states like Karnataka, it has taken only the third limb of it. That means it shall be verified during the audit. That's it. That is what we are trying to certify it. However, RERA Act clearly provides to certify the statement of accounts, books get accounts audited, and also produce a statement of accounts. So the question to all of us as a professionals, are we auditing the accounts, really accounts, and also certifying that accounts? Or my account certified as a statutory auditor or tax auditor, is that sufficient for the purpose of RERA? This is a question which is open. I do not know. I want all the participants like Aditya ji, Sumit ji, who are here, Dilip sir and Atul sir, Devdas. I want to hear from everybody. This is a one call which I had with Sunil sir in detail. Sir, what does this audit means? How do we do audit and what do we start? He said, you come to the session, we'll discuss, deliberate, and we have vibrant participants, vibrant professional colleagues are there. We'll all listen from them. Okay, then we may have consolidate one and share with the fraternity, including our institute. This is what is expected out of the audit under RERA, and the guidance or the clarification guidance or some what I can say is advice from the authorities also towards it. So I just wanted to say what is that we are certifying? We are restricted to only Form 5, verifying only those 4 items. Are we traveling beyond that and looking at the statement of accounts or books of accounts, or those certified accounts are also submitting to the RERA authorities? What is the practice, sir? Are we submitting the statement of accounts to the authorities?
No.
In my opinion, yes, we are required to submit.
Oh, no, we are required to submit. Wearing a helmet is a mandatory. Are we wearing is a question.
We are, yes.
Okay. So
Because see, the provision is very clear. It says you audit the statement accounts, and after that, during the process of audit, you make sure the information is given to us properly. There are 2 legs. One is to audit the accounts and then extract the information and give it for the benefit of the department about the financial discipline. That's the way I take it. Aditya, your views?
Sir, I agree with you, because whenever we verify the utilization, we automatically do the audit also of the cost involved, because we consider the Form 3, the limit, we get a limit in that, and that limit is given only after verification of the cost, actual cost incurred. So actual cost incurred is verified by a chartered accountant. So we verify the utilization. So dual check is there. One is certifying the actual cost and other one is certifying the utilization by auditing that it is utilized for the project. So what is utilized for the project, how we will understand? We will understand it from the actual cost incurred basis. So if we have, because our work is restricted to the incurred definition given in section 2, that basically it is whenever a product or service received and we are having the proper invoice for that, or it is received on the payment of actual payment basis. So we can consider that as an actual incurred cost. So that is the audit part, and the format is which is given for Form 5. It includes the heading annual statement of accounts. So our role is restricted to that bank account, because one can say that in a company there might be multiple projects, but that completely is a lookout of the developer. Ultimately, he has to give the accounts, because in the act also it is written, the word clearly written is the project, and project, according to project, the section 3, that is registered with the RERA. So it is the duty of the promoter to maintain separate books of account, and he has to give the bifurcation. So then he can't say, I have obtained the RERA registration number for this project and I cannot provide the accounts pertaining to this project. So a general comments which many big firms are also passing, that the separate bifurcation is not available, which is, it is not tenable, because if you are registering the project, that means you should maintain separate. Then you can't give a judgment that separate accounts are not possible and I cannot provide it for audit purpose. So generalized comments are not accepted. When if I can bifurcate it for registration purpose, then definitely the books of accounts needs to be maintained according to that. Otherwise, consolidate and registered it as one project. So we are registering it separately for taking the benefit of section 14. to avoid the permission of all the buyers at once, then we cannot claim that no, the expenses are for all the projects and we don't have the bifurcation. So that is not tenable. So automatically it is the bank account, because ultimately what importance is, because they have clearly mentioned in that proviso, verification in the process of audit, you have to verify the utilization and withdrawal. So RERA is concerned about the amount collected and how it is utilized. So that is very important. If we know what is amount collected, because separate RERA account is maintained, but utilization should also be pertaining to that project. So there we cannot give that this amount cannot be mentioned. We have taken a blanket invoice for all the projects. That is not at all tenable according to me.
Few questions here for everybody. See, in case I am maintaining a RERA account, okay, and my promoter has not deposited the collection in the RERA account, what do I do as an auditor? Sumit, for you.
Yes, sir.
How did we find out that he did that?
You got the accounts with you. You are having
No, if
access
it's
to entire tally data.
No,
You
he's
can easily
deposited
find out.
into somebody else, some other account.
No,
So,
in your own account, you have got multiple accounts. You have got a
Okay.
collection account, or a RERA account. You have got other account also. If the client has deposited that amount of money into some other account, it is revealed to you because you are verifying the entire books of accounts. So you can get to know about that information. Now, how to go about it? Because now one thought process is that only look at the RERA account and nothing else, right? That is the way people are taking a limited view of the subject. Here we are having this webinar for that reason only. Whether the limited view subject is the right way of looking at things, or you should take a wholesome view of the entire subject. That is the question here. Sumit, for you.
Sir, in my opinion, we must be restricted to only the account which is specified by the promoter as a RERA designate bank account under section 480.
So what happens to the other collection? You come to know that there is an agreement to sell. There is a collection which has come in the accounts. It is reflected in the books of accounts. You are showing it as a booking money or a receipt, and you are, for example, you are not ignoring that. So does it serve the purpose of getting the audit done? So you are required to conduct the audit of the accounts of the company, wherein this information will be available to you.
When this information, see, I'll have to calculate the total amount received during the year by the promoter in that same project from the allottees in whatever bank account. That is correct. I'll have to list that. But then the amount which is not routed through RERA bank account, I have a slight difference of opinion. If the amount is not routed through RERA bank account, then further question of utilization of the same on the project need not be considered by me. Only the amount which is routed through RERA bank account should be considered. If I do have a form 3, I think I must have a form 3 for at least 4 quarters of in the year, and if I can see that the promoter is having sufficient balance to withdraw, that means he has already invested sufficient money in the project, so that it means that I can conveniently infer that the money which is collected from the allottees is being spent on the project.
No, Sumit, you are diverting the issue. The issue is very clear that there is a RERA account. It is being managed properly. 70% has been put in the account, has been spent. But there is something more than that, which is into some other different account. Now, if you go by the book, if you go specifically as per the draft report, you will say, I will look into only the RERA account. But if you look at the statement of accounts, which have to be audited by you, in that case, that information is made available to you. And the purpose of the audit is to make sure that you give the information in the right manner for the benefit of the RERA and the allottees. So if you take that as your mantle, that you are supposed to be the custodian for the authority, in my opinion, you are liable or you are required to conduct the audit, look into all the collection, look into all the utilization, and then only give the report. That's what my personal view is. Vinay, what do you say on this?
Few things here, sir. I'm sure that this being only a deliberation, there is no, it's only a views which are expressed considering the basic objective and intent of the law. Second, also, if you look at that, why a chartered accountant has been brought under this act to provide a services or a certification. Consider if chartered accountant was not there, what was the mechanism for the authority to verify it? Number one. Second, fine, we are verifying to a limit of only this. Is the only act also look at that? How a authority itself get a bigger picture of the project? If I limited myself only to the amount collected and spent, where is my project balance sheet? Where is my project cash flow statement? Is very important. I'll just take this call, sir. Hello.
Sir, I also, in my personal view, I also believe that my institute and accounting standards and ethics also doesn't permit this isolated view. We have to take a holistic view and consider all lapses, because ultimately it's a lapse.
Yeah, because if I say only collection and withdrawal, where is my project liability? How do I look at my project liability, and how do authority assess that this project is feasible? How do he get into a red flag of this project? This project can complete or not? This project project can be sustained with whatever be the money they collected or money realized or money to be realized from the promoter. Sir, for a simple process by a SEBI or a simple bank accounting, open an account, you know how much banks will look into the process, the KYC norms, or a simple housing loan of 1 crore rupees, you know how much documents to be taken by a banker. And we are looking at a regulator, looking at the bigger picture, and also whether regulator has all this information for them to take necessary action is a question which I'm also thinking. I'll give my views about it. What I practice as a chartered accountant while we conduct the audit, I can share it with the participants so that you can share your views also. Few of the professionals, when I shared with that, they have not appreciated that this is not my job, and I restrict only to the Form 7. Okay, fine. And
Vinay, we have got in our audience, Amit More, CA, and CA Lalit Pawar. So they are into RERA practice in quite a big way. So
okay,
I like to, have their views also in case they can make their views for the benefit of all of us. Amit and Lalit.
yes,
हाँ
sir.
सर, isolated view is not accepted by myself. आपको देखना ही पड़ेगा कि आपके कस्टमर से कितने पैसे आए हैं और उसका यूटिलाइजेशन कब हुआ है. वो अभी दूसरा व्यू है, दूसरा पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है कि वो अकाउंट में डाले गए हैं या नहीं डाले गए. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, हाउ मच इज रिसीव्ड and how much is expenses for the project. That should be looking after.
Okay.
No, which means that you are looking into the entire accounts, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have to look books of account. बोला तो सब major देखने पड़ेंगे ना सर.
So
That's
you are
why,
on the same page with me and me and Vinay. So we are saying the same
yes,
thing.
sir.
That the
Second
first leg
supporting
of
is
the
that.
proviso. Yeah, go ahead.
Second supporting is that statutory auditor should do signing of Form 5. Why? Because statutory auditor is looking after all ledgers and journals. DNA of the client. That's why the RERA says statutory auditor should sign Form 5. जैसे भी एक केस हुआ था कि अनसिक्योर्ड लोन में कस्टमर का एडवांस दिखा के रखा था, वो कस्टमर से एडवांस आया है ऐसे दिखाया नहीं. अगर स्टैट्यूटरी ऑडिटर है तो उसको पता चलेगा कि ये ऐसा हुआ है.
नहीं, hello, Lalit. In this case, you are the statutory auditor. See, if there is no tax audit or there is no company audit, okay, it is a proprietary concern, not under tax audit also. Still, if it is registered under RERA, you have got the independent scope and independent rights to conduct the audit, right? As per all the laws possible.
Right.
So that
Yes,
right
sir.
is not restricted. So whether the moment you become a RERA auditor, you are a statutory auditor. Whether you are acting along with the tax auditor or in both the capacity or in single capacity, that is a different issue by itself. The conduct has to be conducting the audit in a proper manner. That's what I understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right,
I
sir, right.
do totally agree with Naik sir. We need to look from whole accounts perspective. So we cannot restrict our views.
No, I'm
Any
not
other
saying
view?
restriction. I'm saying that you have to look each and every ledger. Even you are doing RERA audit.
Yes, yes.
Even you are not doing tax audit or company audit.
Any other view of anybody else?
Yes, Naik sir. First of all, most of the views are matching, but there are slight deviation. When we are doing the RERA audit
How's that?
in Maharashtra, we are concerned from the form number 5. Our scope of work not going as per the section 42 LD. Our scope of work is designed as per the form 5 requirements, and wherein these things, in my personal view, are specific. Yes, withdrawal and the receipt. We have to not limit to particular RERA designate, but we have to go beyond whatever is the receipt of the company or the firm which we are doing audit. We have to take a view and comment on that. If they have not kept RERA designate account specific or partly they have deposited and partly somewhere else, we must comment on that in the observation sections so that our view is expressed. Now RERA has to take their own call why they are not complying with. At the same time, we are not the auditor only. We at times we advise also to our client. We make them aware, and they sometimes switch over and try to follow whatever RERA says. They are also innocent as of now. 5 years gone, yet they are not much compliant. They have been just taking the registration and they think that rest of the things are done. Many small builders are doing this way, except professionally managed builders. Secondly, when we are talking about the statutory audit under RERA, we are relying on the other chartered accountant. They are submitting their form 3, and any expenditure which they are observing, verifying, and putting their remarks. And those remarks are the key thing for our comments. We are, say, if the Form 3 CA is doing the detailed audit for the expenditure part, post incurred, in my view, somewhere, that is why the RERA has put the word certificate, annual report, but by way of certificate. To somehow, they have limited our scope and they have put cap on the other professionals also, so that the third party is also verifying your work. Engineer, architect, and chartered accountants work is cross verified. Whether promoter has been taking all those certificates as required under the RERA Act. And then we are the summarizing all those non-compliances or compliances. But I am really taking away whatever you said in your PPT. Lots of penalties and other orders are passed by the authority or some other, even maybe tribunal, and that has been impacting to the promoter. But these things where it will be covered, yes, might be in Form 3 to some extent. And when we are checking the deviation part, means withdrawal part, which is not utilized, at that time these things can be covered if cost of the project incurred as per the CA certificate is within the limit of 70%, then I think we are okay with this. And we do not qualify in this, the builder has deviated the fund from the project.
So here I have to now one observation on my side, sir. We are
Yes.
not issuing a report, we are issuing a certificate. Certificate in the parlance of the institute is statement of facts. Report is a statement of opinion. So if you ask me honestly, you are required to certify the information which is the factual information as per the books of account given to you. So it's not an opinion. So whatever information that you give should be the correct information as per the books of account. So no deviation will be permitted in that. So to pose a few problems to the benefit of everybody, one situation which I have faced in my certification, I'll just pose it to you. You can give me your views on that. While drafting the form number 3, the developer has taken some bills from the contractors, accounted them. Actually, work is done on site. The bills are received by the promoter. He was liable to pay the contractor, including the GST, as applied by the contractor. Because he could not pay that GST before within the due date, the contractor first issued a bill in the initial month of March, and then subsequently he has issued the bill in the month of April. The poor CA who drafted form number 3 has considered the bill in his certificate while issuing form number 3. He has calculated the amount of expenditure after considering of that bill. But when the accounts have come for audit, that bill is shifted to April 2022. And so now the expenditure as per form number 3, if aggregated, will be more than the expenditure as per the books of accounts. It's a very situation that we have faced. Myself and Sumit have faced this situation, and we are really in a dilemma how to go about it. So I will request all of you to guide me on this subject. What is your take on this? This is a real life case which you are facing right now. Aditya?
So basically, whenever I verified it and I have checked to that till that date. So as and when form 3 is taken, we should upload it on the website, and it cannot be deleted. So whatever changes after that the promoter does, it is not in my control. So I have verified it, and the bills they have provided it for my verification. So I have certified till that date. So later, and it should be immediately uploaded on the website. The date is punched on the website. So my role is done, because after that he might change he might increase the cost, he might reduce the cost. That is the reason in form 3, at the bottom it is always agreed and accepted by. So always it should be sent to the promoter first. The draft should be discussed, and once he sign it, then both of them are confirming that this is the appropriate cost. So later on, any subsequent changes can be incorporated in a next form 3, and there we can mention that this cost has been already included in previous. After that, there are certain changes, so now we won't consider it again. So that is from my side.
No, issue is not that. See, altering form number 3 in the next quarter is not the issue. Now, if I aggregate the expenditure of the 4 quarters as per form number 3, that expenditure is going to be more than what is stated in the books of accounts now after deletion of the bill. So the taken the bill into accounts before March 22 and subsequently deleted that and postponed the bill to April 22. Problem is that we have got a tricky situation that now I have to go against my fellow chartered accountant that he has issued a wrong form number 3, or I have to go against the promoter that he has falsified the accounts. This is a choice, a dilemma which we are going to face, and it's going to happen with everybody, all of you, while doing the actual audits.
So basically the issue is, if unless and until the service or the milestone is achieved, he won't issue the invoice. So that is for wrong on the part of the promoter to shift it to the different period, although, because as per the accounting standards, and we work on the accrual concept, and whenever we cannot shift the expenditure because it will be prior period item. So if the service is received during this year and he has raised the bill, so only for his convenience, it cannot be shifted to April. So accountant is correct on his part, and there won't be any issue, because ultimately once he signed that certificate, it becomes a document. So it becomes a valid document, and then only it will be uploaded through his logging on the portal. So he cannot later on change that this amount is been shifted now, and the chartered accountant wrongly considered it in March. So that altogether it will be not it will not be accepted by any authority. So I don't think so CA would be at any risk, because ultimately it has been uploaded and that document can never be deleted.
Sunil
So you
sir,
mean to say your
here
report?
what would be the stock position and e-way bill? If that is matched, then it is problematic for the CA who issued form number 3. Because
Sir,
But service is contractor, sir. There won't be
yeah,
any
if it is service contract, it is different. But otherwise, stock can be verified and e-way billing can be verified
Yes.
in such situation.
No, issue is, see, it is very clear that the mischief is played by the promoter by shifting the bill
Definitely.
for his own convenience, right? So my question to all of you as chartered accountant is this: that how will you take care of this situation in your audit report observations?
sir,
Because see,
basically,
if you go purely on the basis of Form 3 and Form 5, only the expenditure and the utilization, then this issue may not have that much proportion in terms of the complications. But in case you are taking a total holistic view of the books of accounts, then this is very material to you because it has to be reported by.
so basically, the professional who issued the quarterly update certificates is right because issued based on the data which is given to him on the day.
Yes.
Correct.
And I cannot question his integrity and anything or intention. When you issue in the annual audit report, that data is removed or the data is taken out from the system. You also end up with issuing a audit report based on the data which they are given to you.
Correct.
So the difference would be there. Okay, let the promoter address to that because as a chartered accountant, I will include as part of my report to the promoter stating that this is expenses as per quarterly updates, quarterly certificate is 100. When I am verifying it has become only 80. There is a variance of 20. You figure it out because I'm very clear on my stand. I cannot expect him to push back or pull back that expenses to the current year, check, verified. That's his headache. I will do the certification and also observation. If at all, if I observe, I'll give by way of annexure. Let the promoter figure it out. Okay, because you are also correct. The professional who issued the quarterly update certificate is also correct. There is no mistake on either of us. But only there is a difference. That variance should be addressed by the promoter when he gets into that position.
Yeah. Any other view of anybody else? Attendees, please come forward.
I have one more view, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, sir, even though we are auditing, so one more important thing is we have to consider SA 620 also. So it is always using the work of auditors expert and not relying on them. So, and one more thing is, as per regulation, if we find we cannot completely rely on Form 3 because they have given us the authority as Form 5 that we can point out any issues in Form 3, Form 1, 2, and 3. So there is one more point here that if we find subsequent any issue, so then we can point out, because this is an issue which we will see that he has considered, and at the time of audit we can see that that bill is considered in April. So then this can be a part of our observation on the part of Form 3. So that needs to be considered while signing the Form 5 also.
Correct. Correct. Perfectly right. Anybody else? Uma, you're there? Uma?
Okay.
Okay,
Sunil,
one more situation which I like to pose is that now there is a situation that the booking money has been collected from a potential purchaser. No agreement is executed. The amount of money is shown under the head unsecured loans or under their advances in the balance sheet under current liabilities. And there is a letter of allotment issued which is on records. Okay. So there is a situation that you are verifying the books of accounts. The money has gone into some different account. So if you take a limited view of the RERA account only, you will not find this amount. But if you look at the entire accounts, you will find this amount appearing as advance or unsecured loans. Agreement is not executed, but there is a letter of allotment being issued by the promoter to the allottee. Now, going to form number 3, if you see the column of sold unsold flats, it says consideration as per the agreement to sale oblique letter of allotment. Right? Now you know that there is a letter of allotment being issued. How will you handle this situation? Am I clear on the query, or you want some more clarifications?
Yes, sir. Your query is very clear. The case which happened in Gujarat, similar situation which I can see here. As a auditor, we have to comment in our observation section until they rectify it and show it in the appropriate head. And
So the
advise them.
sir, 1 minute. Issue is not about the disclosure. Issue is about payment of the statutory dues, the GST applicable and the stamp duty applicable. The investor does not want to pay stamp duty, does not want to pay GST at this juncture. So he is showing it as advance, but he has taken the letter of allotment for his own safety. And your books of accounts and your records reveal that there is a credit in the books of accounts, and correspondingly there is a letter of allotment issued by the client to the person. The situation that we may face is tomorrow, in case the project doesn't take shape and tomorrow there is a litigation between that allottee and the promoter. In that situation, if your certificate form 3 or form 5 does not take that money as booking money, it is being shown as an unsold flat. In that situation, the allottee can take both to task, the promoter as well as the chartered accountant, saying that the CA has acted in connivance with the promoter to defraud the allottee. To take up that situation, how will you address that situation? But this is a real life situation which we are facing.
Absolutely, because if 10% or more is obtained in the under the RERA registered project, they have no choice. So if that situation is there, we have to report.
Even,
And it has not
below
gone for
that
registration.
also,
Yes.
even below 10% also, whatever Naik Sahib is telling is a real picture. In nowadays, lots of complaints have been filed.
They are,
They
yes,
have,
yes.
they have
Promoters are
taken
doing
the
this.
security money, they had got the allotment later, but those flats were not booked in their names. Fortunately, RERA has not taken any action on chartered accountants to my knowledge.
Absolutely.
But these are the gray areas which gives a lots of alarm for us to wake up.
So
Sir,
the issue can be
what
a
I have
criminal
done,
complaint. Issue may not be a civil complaint, sir. It can be a criminal complaint of misfeasance and misrepresentation on the part of the chartered accountant, and that he has been instrumental in defrauding the allottee. That can be taken in that manner, and it can be very serious.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
so basically, what I had done is I had obtained a third-party confirmation from the investor that he's an investor. Firstly, according to section 2, he should be registered as a promoter if he is giving a good bulk amount. But if he is not doing that, then I take the representation from third-party confirmation that yes, the amount is invested as an investor, and it should letter of allotment. Even though letter of allotment is considered, I should not be treated as an allottee. So that I take a declaration from the third party, from the investor, and according to me, if that is the thing done, then there is no compliance needed on that part, because anyone can provide a loan, because unsecured loan is allowed. So if he is not giving any interest, if he is not giving interest to some, then he becomes an investor, and that means he should be considered as a promoter, because he is causing the construction to be gone ahead without actually involved into the construction. So in that case, a proper declaration from the investor would suffice.
Aditya sir, very true. So you say either an investor or a borrowing. If the borrowing is borrowing means there is an interest payout. There is absence of an interest payout and also absence of any document to say that that is a borrowing. I presume it either it has an advance towards the plot, advance towards the unit, or misguise this as the investor. Okay. For me to consider that, again, I have to go back to the books of accounts. I cannot only rely on this inflow outflow and consider this. So books of accounts is primarily required for me to consider this. Because a few of our professionals said we restrict only to this statement. Answer cannot be restricted to only that. We have to go back and see the books of accounts. And we may have a challenge that the books of accounts may have a multiple projects of multiple business, not only multiple project. If you say some businesses they have a trader in cement business, they have a real estate, they are into rental income of lending buildings. So you may have various aspects of it, but for the purpose of RERA, we should have the information related to the project. We just cannot ignore that unless they have separate books of accounts. If you permit me, I will show you how we track the information, how we expect the promoter to provide the data, which would be a working paper for us also, and something sort of a feasibility that promoter can complete the project, or there's something which they may find difficulty in terms of completing the project. Can I take it, sir? Sunil sir, with your permission?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Dilip sir, okay?
Yes, yes, sir. We have time. No problem.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Thanks.
Can you see a sheet, sir?
Yes.
First thing, we ask the promoter to give this data. What is the inflow and outflow of a project? The inflow may be towards the promoter contribution, a realization from the allottees, and the borrowings, maybe other receipts. Other receipts, we take the breakup of it. We consider this as an inflow. And outflow would be towards the project development, towards the repayment of loan and withdrawal of the promoter by the promoters. So I will net it off. What is my inflow for a project? What is my outflow for a project? This is the first thing which we figure it out from the promoter or through books of accounts. The second table which we prepare is how the realization, how the collection has been happened over the last years, because many of the projects are which are ongoing. Prior to RERA also we had, and continue till now also. If not applicable, it would be not applicable. Say capture this information of the inflow year wise, and also capture the information which is year wise. If we done the audit of earlier period, I just fill the data. If not, I have to capture this information since inception. This basically show that what is my year wise inflow and outflow. Third, also I see that I have withdrawn the project bank account, withdrawn the project as on 31st March 2002. This is maybe the current year. If I have a data for the previous year, I'll capture this individual item. Otherwise, I'll capture the current year, previous year, I'll put a lump sum. What is these payments are made towards? Having withdrawn money from the project bank account. Basically, outflow has been utilized in this way. Whether the landowner payments, suppliers of the materials, service provider, government authorities, any NOCs towards the interest cost and repayment of the loans. Or in case if it is withdrawn by the promoter, mentioned here. Basically, this is the outflow. First table I have shown inflow, outflow. Second table I have shown the inflow. This third table shows the outflow towards various sets of development cost. Fourth table, I'll capture this. Okay, fine. You have done this. Let me know what would be the liability of a project as on date. I'm talking about only a project level because I have to maintain and issue the audit report or statement of accounts project wise. Let me capture what is a project development liability. Friends, we are all aware that the quarterly update certificate which we issue for the purpose of RERA stops at money eligible to withdraw. That means total money realized minus already withdrawn and balance amount to be eligible to withdraw. There is no place for me to mention whether this money having withdrawn has been utilized for the project which is meant. That is where is a challenge which we are facing today as a professional. So how do I prove that this has been utilized for the project which has been withdrawn? That certificate what we issue doesn't have that column at all. It is eligible to withdraw is only there. There is no column of whether it has been utilized to the project or not. So this is a payable towards the landowner. I'm sure that many cases there are some dues to the landowners. And what is the supplier money which is? So all these expenses payable or the liability towards the project development. I'm just talking about the project development cost. And also if you see that point number 8, 9, 10, which is mentioned in terms of the money collected from the promoter, sorry, allottees, which is in the nature of a liability, especially the refundable deposit for the purpose of maintenance or the advance collected towards the maintenance. Finally, point number 10, in case of any delay in project, what would be the impact of it? What would be the liability which I end up with providing or paying to the allottees? That also would be a tentative liability which I capture. And also liability towards the borrowing, like we know that there would be a liability in terms of the borrowings. What would be the liability as on that day by looking at the books of accounts? And also this is very important, maybe many a time we may not consider at all, and any levy or any penalty or any orders passed by the authority or a tribunal, okay, what would be the impact of it? How much would be the impact towards the project, which is only information for me to consider what would be the liabilities or tentative outflows towards the project, which may not be the real unless they have a case which they go to the appeal and get an order towards them. And friends, according to your experience, based on your past 5 years of practice, tell me how many orders are in favor of the promoter, percentage wise. Not much. Very few orders are in favor of the promoters. So that is where is the challenge we have. Of course, these are all the ongoing projects. Maybe the new projects or the future projects may have a better in terms of the management and also reporting. The challenge which comes is we always say that money incurred for the project. The various challenges we have is if we see that the certificate which we get estimated versus incurred. Sometimes if my incurred is more than the estimate, what do I do? What do I do? Is that permitted to withdraw from 70% account? If I have given an estimate of 100 and 75 have incurred, perfect. You have withdrawn from the estimate, out of the estimate. 2015, I'm okay with that. Where the challenge comes, where you have given only 20 towards the interest cost, actually you incurred 100. Can I permit to withdraw 100? Is a question. This is where is always a challenge, because many of the project which is stalled, they are saying that the amount is incurred and they continue to withdraw towards this, but which is not as part of estimate. We have come across the case wherein the project is stalled for almost 4 or 5 years. Huge borrowings are there. Project is only 20% completed, and they have not reached the entire amount towards the incurred as the estimate. They have 600 crores, but only they spent about 100 crores towards the development. Promoter continue to withdraw, stating that I'm incurring the interest, where his estimate is only 20 crores. He has already withdrawn 100 crore rupees. If he continue to withdraw something which is not estimated, then there is no money for him to complete the project. This is one thing which I would like to highlight it. I do not know how we are all practicing on this aspect. Just as one eye opener for that. So these are all the liabilities which I capture, wherein we get some basic idea about what would be the project liabilities, and also which matching the cash flow, cash inflow and outflow. And one more document I will show in terms of the workings.
If
How
we can go to that question that you just now asked, can we ask the promoter to update the estimated cost on the website? Can we do that? And then?
I do not know. At least the practice in the southern 5 states, it is not permitted. unless there is a hearing before the authority, because it's the registration information provided at the time of the registration based on some facts. Anything related to registration modification required, it has to go through a process. That process should be approved by the authority, and sometimes it goes before the authority hearing. Only on satisfaction they are approving it.
Sunil sir, for Maharashtra?
Same case.
Can I
5,000.
Yeah, it is the same situation. You have to approach the authority for getting the things corrected, and you have to justify the reason for going beyond the estimations.
Yes, we can do that, no? But that is allowed.
Yeah, but that is subject to the authority agreeing to that.
Yes, sir.
Because as what
You have to file in Maharashtra. We have to file change application or
yes.
even
Hmm.
estimated cost change. It will be approved by the authority, that they will accept, and then we will issue Form 3 for the
Right.
next quarter.
Yeah.
In this, I have some explanation regarding interest cost. In accounting, interest is a due and paid. They're two different things. If interest is a due, then it is credited to his loan account. Means जिसने लोन दिया है उसके अकाउंट में हम लेट्स से उसने 10 लाख रुपए दिए हैं और 1 लाख रुपए इंटरेस्ट हुआ है तो उसका अकाउंट 11 लाख रुपए पेबल दिखाएगा. If it is not paid, that 1 lakh is not paid, then we should not certify it as a cost incurred. When that 1 lakh is paid, then we have to certify it or give in the column, add in the column of cost incurred, as per my understanding.
Aditya, your views. Aditya, are you there?
Sir, cost incurred has been defined basically, even if it is a due, also it is considered as the incurred, because the liability which is already created. The incurred is a very new concept. There is no, I have written an article in the Tax Guru also. What is incurred? There is no accounting definition for an incurred. There is no definition to an incurred.
No, sir, not even it is even there is no definition. Incurred means what? Just
for the purpose of RERA, liability accrued is called a incurred.
Yes. Yes. It has been very defined very clearly in the circular.
Liability incurred is incurred. So I put this as an incurred, but having incurred, if I withdraw it, I have to pay towards this only. I should not use it for any other purpose other than this. That is the importance of it. There is a liability accrued, we call that as an incurred, withdraw the money and settle the liability. What happens is many
then sir एक example लेते हैं. सर एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं कि एक प्रोजेक्ट में बिल्डर ने 1000 बैग्स ऑफ सीमेंट, अभी 1000 में से उसने सिर्फ 400 यूज की है, 600 उसके साइट पे पड़ी हुई है या फिर गोडाउन पे पड़ी हुई है.
Yes.
So we consider 1000 as 1000 cost as a cost.
Yes, sir. Yes. But you should make 1000 bags payment to the vendor.
तो ही उसका पेमेंट देना बाकी है सर. अभी उससे पहले अपने को फॉर्म 3 देना है.
Yes.
So should we consider as a cost for 10,000 bags? 1,000 bags.
Yes, that is the cost incurred. But only thing is, it is a incurred. You are eligible to withdraw, and if you withdraw it, you should settle the liability. If you don't settle the liability, don't withdraw it.
मीन्स आपका कहना ऐसा है कि नेक्स्ट फॉर्म 3 इशू करने से पहले हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि उसने 1000 बैग का कॉस्ट पे किया है कि नहीं, जो कि हमने फॉर्म 3 में कंसीडर किया है एज अ कॉस्ट इनकर्ड.
That is what is I clearly mentioned. Form 3 stops at the place where it is eligible to withdraw, and it never says whether you have withdrawn it and paid the money for the purpose which you have withdrawn it. That is a disconnect.
पर इसमें सर सर्टिफाइंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बढ़ रही है सर. और कॉम्प्लिकेशन और बढ़ रहा है कि पहले के फॉर्म में जो कॉस्ट हमने कंसिडर की है, अगर इफ इट इज पेबल, देन नेक्स्ट फॉर्म 3 में हमें देखना पड़ेगा पहले स्टार्ट करने से पहले कि लास्ट फॉर्म में जो पेबल थे वो इस क्वार्टर में इन्होंने पे किए कि नहीं पे किए, एंड इफ इट इज नॉट पेड देन व्हाट?
Money should be in the bank account. Money should be in my 70% bank account. Very simple. You withdraw
बट सर
it
ऐसे
and
हो ही
use
नहीं,
it.
होगा ही नहीं सर। बिल्डर को अगर आप बोल रहे हैं कि आप यू कैन विड्रॉ, ही विल ऑलवेज विड्रॉ सर, इवन दे मे नॉट पेड।
Then, sir, intention is 70% should be utilized for the purpose which is mentioned. Read section 4 to LD. It is clearly mentioned utilized. Actually,
Other views
section 4 to LD doesn't mention about the incurred. Only the formats are mentioned the incurred. 4 to LD is clear that it should be utilized.
Utilized for the project, correct.
Yeah, it is utilized for the project.
Even form 5 also says utilized for the project.
Yeah.
Form 5 also says the wording utilized for the project.
Yes.
This is a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Going one step further, because we are now almost coming to the end of the session. One small question to all of you. You have seen Form 3, tabulated all the Form 3, and you come to understand that your professional brother chartered accountant has not done a proper fair job, and there are lapses which are visible to your eyes. Now, you have called the chartered accountant for issued form number 3, sought for explanations, and you are not happy with the explanation. Now, as a professional, if you read the proviso to form number 5 explanation, it says in case there are discrepancies, then as an auditor, you are liable or you are required to highlight that in the remarks and observations. And it says further, in such situation, the authority shall, the word used is shall, not may, shall take up the matter with the concerned institute, and in case if it is found to be wrongly done, then there can be penal action which may include dismemberment. Now here you are the auditor, you have seen that there is something wrong with form number 3. If you read the law very meticulously, the law says that in this situation, you are required to report to the authority, and there can be consequences of the penal action on the concerned chartered accountant, which may include dismemberment. Now, here is a situation where you are going to act against your professional brother, which you are expected to do. Though, as a chartered accountant, how will you handle this situation?
Before starting this answer, can I speak something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, we have to understand the process of issuing Form 5. First of all, we are looking into a books of account. Then we will take Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3 of last financial year, whether it may be 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or more than 5, more than 4. We will sum up that all Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, and then we will come to know that something is different, or there is a difference in Form 3 or books of account. अभी वो डिफरेंस लाने के बाद हमको उसको बिल्डर के साथ में और जो सीए इशू कर रहा है फॉर्म 3 उससे डिस्कस करना पड़ेगा कि यार ये ऐसे डिफरेंस है। अगर प्रॉपर एक्सप्लेनेशन है फॉर्म 3 के बारे में या फिर जो कुछ डिफरेंस है तो वो अगर रिपोर्टेबल नहीं होगा तो रिपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे। अगर रिपोर्टेबल होगा तो सर अपने फॉर्म 5 में जो एक्चुअल सिचुएशन है वो दिखानी हमें, और जो आप बोल रहे हैं कि जो भी डिफरेंस है वो मेरे ख्याल से बिल्डर के बारे में है, बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट मेंटेन हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है, या फिर प्रॉपर एक्सपेंसेस हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है। दैट नोट इज नॉट फॉर द अनदर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट और अदर आर्किटेक्ट और इंजीनियर सर। बराबर सर? हेलो।
हाँ, यस ललित जी से आपने जो बोला ना, आई हैव सम लिटिल डिफरेंट व्यू। आप जब देखोगे फॉर्म नंबर 5, दैट स्पेसिफिकली सेइंग दैट द अदर compliances has been done, means by the chartered accountant, architect, and engineer. Those compliance reports are with you as a statutory RERA auditor, right? Since you are the auditor for the whole year, in the process of your verification, you found some which is not matching with the certificates provided to you. तो नायक साहब का वो क्वेश्चन है कि अभी आप क्या करोगे? और यदि आप रिपोर्ट करते हो तो अपने प्रोफेशनल कलीग, मेरे ओपिनियन में तो नाइक साहब प्रोफेशनल कलीग इज आल्सो प्रोफेशनल and he is having their own working paper in their support. They have to prove them, and when we have reconciled with calling them and getting the explanation, and then we have our strong view about our whatever we found in the books, and then we should report that until it is avoidable.
Aditya,
सर कैसे होता है कि बहुत बार बिल्डर लोग इंफॉर्मेशन भी नहीं देते हैं बराबर और फॉर्म 3 इशू हो जाता है. अगर उस केस में ये भी हो सकता है सर कि आफ्टर इशूइंग सर्टिफिकेट वो अमेंड भी कर सकते हैं ना उसको, या फिर यूडिन.
see, you are talking about two situations.
जनरेट होने के बाद उसको कैंसिल कर.
No, here see, I am talking about two situations. We discussed this our issue about a wrong information or manipulation done by the developer or the promoter. Therein, yes, we can highlight that in our observation because this is as per Form 3, which has been correctly issued on the basis of the data available at that point in time. So the CA was within his capacity to certify that correct. So he has done a proper job. So no problems about it. So therein the fault lies with the promoter. As a chartered accountant, as an auditor, it is our job to highlight it and tell the RERA authority that this is what has gone wrong here. You are given the scope to make your observations. Fair, no problems. Now, I am giving you another situation wherein the promoter, by manipulation, or the CA, because of ignorance or whatever misconduct or whatever you can say, he has certified a wrong information. And now, as an auditor, when you have compiled the information, you come to realize that the compilation information does not match with the statement of accounts that you are having for the purpose of audit. Now, therein is a situation that you are required to comment or to pass any strictures against your own fellow brother. How to handle that situation is the question here.
So we have no choice. By default, we have to.
Yes.
But maybe you can put it with some explanation because there are certain characters which we can report within that line. So maybe we can try it and accommodate our own brothers if we feel that
Just
it
like
is
soft language or some good words. ऐसे कुछ करना पड़ेगा, लेकिन सर कहीं तो भी मेंशन तो करना ही पड़ेगा सर हमें, अगर वो गलत है सर.
सर आज का जो टॉपिक है, बिकॉज वी आर क्लोज टू 8 o'clock, नाइक साहब का जो अलार्म क्वेश्चन है, वी ऑल शुड गेट अलार्म अबाउट आवर प्रैक्टिस व्हाट एवर वी आर डूइंग. दिस इज व्हाट आई एम टेकिंग ऑन. और जिसने जो किया है, और इफ वी कम अक्रॉस and at that time we should take a certain opinion from our seniors, those who are in the RERA practice, how to handle such, because these will be the new things possibly. As of now, मेरे opinion में ये है कि it's a good question, Naik sir, which you have put strongly before us, and everyone should take up very positively, because we should not be lenient in taking whatever builder is providing to us. Rather than which we as a professional should take up all those detailed information, detailed documentary evidences to justify our practice as a professional. This is what I am taking on Naik Sava from you.
Okay, sir, it's 8 o'clock now. Can we close?
Yes.
Thank you everybody for the patient hearing. Dilip sir, you can take over.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for your valuable contribution in the whole discussion on the hot topic, CA certificate and audit report. I think we have discussed more on the audit reports, and possibly CA certificate discussion will give more insights. We can have such kind of deliberation later on sometime. I really, from my bottom of heart, I thank you, Sunil Naik Saab. You have really brought very key things which I was never thinking about. Such thing can be the part of the whole discussion. Each and every aspect I can see you have brought in, and then whatever left out, Vinay Tyagraj also contributed, and we could also see what other RERA authorities are having their views in their region or states. With this, I really thank you. Thank you, Aditya, for giving me the opportunity to monitor and attend today's session in your absence. And if you want to say anything at this point, please tell and so that we can complete. Over to Aditya.
No, sir. Thank you very much for conducting today's section. I was little bit late, and thank you very much, Sunil sir. As you can see, today we had a great number, sir, because senior like you were here for enlightening us. And really, sir, in so many sessions, we had reached to around 30 members. So it is literally a great number for us, because as a speaker, everyone looks up to you for guidance, sir. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and providing a great insight and put forward certain questions so that we can think upon it, and in future we can take care of it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
have a
you.
great time. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night. Now we are
Thank you.
completing this session.
Nice.